Forget all that nonsense from yesterday about new tactics and all that rubbish. We're using the usual tactic. You know how I roll. What I have done, though, is gone out, signed 4 players, including a club record transfer for a goalkeeper who's now supposedly the best player at the club. It's all change here at Nuneaton once again. Hello and welcome to part 132 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're away at Stoke and then at home against Chelsea. But first, we need to look at these transfers. It's been a busy January. If you didn't watch yesterday's episode, you might have missed the fact we were given an extra £14 million to spend. Spend it, we have. But first, we've got rid of some of the dead weight at the club as well. So Peter Anderson and Alex Barber have gone out on loan. Matt Symes has gone to League 2 for very little money. And Jack Lenton has finally left the club, despite turning down numerous £5 and £6 million deals to the MLS back in the summer. He just didn't want to go to America. He's now gone to Spain for £1 million. So I don't know why teams in England just don't want Jack Lenton, but apparently they didn't. So they've all moved on, and these are the players that we brought in. And we're going to start with the club record signing goalkeeper Marvin Zakwani, 27-year-old German under-20 international, 4-star current ability. He is better than Egan. He is better than Hugo. And he conceded 4 goals on his debut away against Manchester United. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. He's got Bundesliga experience for Frankfurt, albeit they got relegated the season he did play at that level with them. So he's kind of... yeah, he's not used to top flight football, but if we look at our entire squad and sort them by ability, he's the only 4-star current ability player we've got at the club. Our new goalkeeper is our best player. That's got to be a decent starting point based on how the last few years have been for us. And for the last few years, I mean last 15 seasons. We've also signed a new defender, Pontus Holmqvist. 22-year-old Swedish, full international already. He's made his Sweden debut. We've signed him from Monaco. He's only 2.5-star current ability, so we're talking Josh Sawyer level current ability. Good player for most League One sides, but he does have 4.5-star potential ability. He was hovering around the Monaco reserve team. He'll come good. He will be a superstar for us. Just maybe not quite yet. He's one to lead the charge back up from the Championship if it gets to that. Gaël Moulin is a 23-year-old French under-19 international, 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential. He's, in theory, again, the best midfielder at the club, but more importantly, he's a ball-winning midfielder, something we didn't already have, and has instigated a slight tweak to the tactics. He's been at Montpellier, where he's been in and around the squad at Montpellier for as long as he's been there, played nearly 100 games for them, and we got him for an absolute steal at 650,000. And then the other guy who's caused me to change the player instructions ever so slightly, Jose Vena, is a 23-year-old Chilean international striker, 3.5-star current ability, 4-star potential. Again, comes in as the best player at the club in his position, but importantly, he's the first striker we've had in this entire save who can play as a complete forward. So we're finally going to have a complete forward in the team as well. Not yet made his Premier League debut, signed just before the deadline closed. So this is the tweaked tactic that we're going to be using. We've made Del Gaudio an advanced playmaker on attack rather than an attacking midfielder, because what was our deep line playmaker is now a ball-winning midfielder to add a little bit of extra midfield crunch. And then Vena up front is going to be a complete forward on support. And I think it's going to be a bit special. We've got Zakwani in goal, a back four of Robertson, Holmqvist, King and Etchebay, with Fia, Moulin and Barron in midfield and Del Gaudio in behind Vena and Graziani. Before we jump into the Stoke game, though, I should probably show you the run of games we're on. It's actually not as bad as things had got, picking up 2 league wins throughout January, and we're into the 5th round of the FA Cup. So we beat Palace, we beat Leicester. We're not scoring a lot of goals. We only scored 3 league goals in the entire month. Oh no, we got those 2 against Blackburn. But importantly, it has left us on 28 points from 25 games, still 10 points clear of Stoke, who we play right now. And obviously if we beat them, then that becomes a 13-point gap, and we hit 31 points with 12 games still to go, and we have to start feeling a little bit more comfortable then. Arsenal have started surging up the league as well. So it really is kind of a bottom 6 now, with the bottom 3 still quite far adrift. We did lose at Wolves, though, already in this last run of games. So let's jump into the match. 4 new players in the team is always a big risk. Dynamics, we're not even going to talk about. It's a little bit broken. James Ball is now on the transfer list at his own request. Josh Sawyer is still officially club captain, but I was this close to leaving him out of the Premier League squad. In fact, he was out of the Premier League squad until on deadline day, Clement Peary just decided not to turn up to training because he wasn't happy with the amount of football he was getting. So I just chucked him out the squad, stuck him on the transfer list, and Sawyer has returned to the squad as a fifth centre-back. Now Holmqvist makes up one of the first four. That is a lovely finish from Del Gaudio, starting his new lease on life as a playmaker rather than an attacking midfielder. It is his preferred player role, and it took him 19 seconds to reward my newfound faith in his new position with a goal. If you're wondering where Earl is, who was the superstar of the last episode, he's picked up an injury, so he is still around the squad as one of our backup attacking midfielders, along with Llewellyn, and both Richardson and Ball are both on the transfer list, and we've seen the last of them. And I'm probably going to move Sawyer on in the summer as well. He's around the squad at the moment purely for a bit of experience, but I don't expect him to play much in the way of games. Worryingly, the guy who replaced him on the team leaders list when I moved him down into the under-23s was Lee Hugo, who's now our third choice keeper. So remember that problem we had where all of our players who weren't very good were our team leaders and we had to keep playing them? Well, now we've got two goalkeepers better than the one who's a team leader. He's not moaned about lack of game time yet, but I think our team leaders are now Barron, Ruggles and Hugo, none of which I would count as my first choice players. So that's still a battle that we're going to have to continue fighting as we go into the summer, and probably carry on with another significant chunk of player turnover if we're in the Premier League. Obviously, if we do get relegated, the likes of Hugo, Ruggles and Barron, we know they're superstars in the Championship, so they can quite happily lead us back into the Premier League next season if that's what's needed. But if we do manage to stay up, they're players who we really need to move on and try and get some team leaders who are actually, going to be in the team. Although Barron is playing today. Fear, forward to Del Gaudio. There's Venner, first touch that we've seen from him in the Premier League, and Barron is dispossessed by the blooming Stoke midfielder. What a swine. And there's a ball over the top. Holmqvist is not alive to it, and Zakwani, he's not had the brightest start to life in the Premier League, because that's now 6 goals conceded in a game and a bit. One of those games was against Manchester United, which I can forgive him, but Stoke are rubbish, and he doesn't seem to have, hands, which are usually quite important assets for goalkeepers to have. He kind of, I don't want to say he's Nadat-esque with his pointing, but he really needs to just try and kind of get in the way of the ball when it's going towards his goal, rather than just letting it go past him. Even then, he let it go past him, and luckily it hit the big wooden thing behind him and bounced out, rather than ending up in the back of the net. But we need to establish ourselves in this game. This is stupid. We've had one shot on target against a terrible team. Graziani plays it across to Venner. Can he do something magical? He can't, but I really wanted him to. I set it up for him. Come on, do something magical. Show me why complete forwards are the way to go. Because he can. I mean, he's a natural target man, but he's also comfortable as a complete forward or an advanced forward. Barron, what a goal from Tony Barron! It's only earlier in this episode that I'm talking about needing to bin him off in the summer, and he's just shown again why he's he's not a Premier League quality player, but goodness me, does he try hard. In theory, I've said in theory a lot today. Don't say that anymore, Kev. It's because I'm no longer trusting the star ratings as much as I used to. I'm making it very clear. I now understand they're just theoretical, but his star rating is the same as Alex Barber's, who hasn't had a sniff of first-team football for like 2 years, and we've just finally moved him out on loan to a League 2 team. They're both 3-star central midfielders, apparently, so I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. I just hope we manage to stay up. That's all I really want. Robertson has injured himself fouling one of their players. It's problematic because we don't have a left-back on the bench. We do have two other left-backs in the squad. So if it's a bad injury, it's not a disaster, but it's troublesome for today because we don't have anyone who can play left-back anywhere in this squad. So I guess we bring on Hermes. And has anyone got a left foot? Are you left-footed? No. Are you left-footed? No, very not. Can you play left back? You can play left back a little bit. So what we're going to do is just sort of shuffle around and do that, which is not ideal. How do you injure yourself to that extent? I mean, he was already carrying a knock, I think, but whatever was troubling him is now made him have to come off. If you're wondering where Ali Afsharian is, and I know it's taken me more than 10 minutes of the episode to raise that as an issue, I still don't think he's a Premier League player. I'm going with Venner and Graziani for a little while. Afsharian is in my mind, although clearly not in the mind of my assistant manager because he's not on the bench. We might put him on the bench for the second game. We might overrule the wisdom of my assistant manager and put Ali Afsharian on the bench for the second of these 2 games, even though, did we say it's against Chelsea? So it's a game we're going to lose anyway. But didn't Afsharian score against Chelsea earlier in the season and celebrate because it was his former club? So perhaps that is a game for Ali Afsharian. Here we go. Building from the back with Etchebay. Forward to Venner. It's Del Gaudio. Tries to play Graziani in, but he's not really awake to it. And Holmqvist is beaten again. We're blooding him at the moment. Trying to kickstart this potential that he's got because he's not had a lot of football for the age that he is. Stoke have just brought on a wonder kid. Brilliant. I mean, that's not fair. They're supposed to be a rubbish team and they're bringing on wonder kids in the 70th minute. That just feels like cheating. Etchebay obviously not having the greatest of games. Neither's Holmqvist. Let's bring Sawyer on for him and just have a bit of experience back there. And we'll leave it there for now. Although we do need to find a winner. So we'll give it 5 minutes. And then we've got Brown and Hull both on the bench, who are probably both having a look at this match thinking, I'd quite like to have a go at this, please. So we'll bring... Oh, for goodness sake. I don't remember the last game we played in where we didn't give away a penalty. We are so incompetent defensively. But Zakwani proves he has hands and saves a penalty. And hopefully that's the turning point for this game. And we can go and grab a winner in these last 15 minutes. We're going to take Venner off, bring on James Brown, who is our top scorer for the season. It does mean changing back to a target man because Venner's the only striker we've got who can do complete forward. But Brown... I mean, we know Brown can score goals. If he grabs a goal today, it will put him into double figures for the season, which is far better than what any of our other strikers have got anywhere near. Apart from that Afsharian fella, but he doesn't seem to play very many games. Del Gaudio, it's nowhere near Barron. That was rubbish. Is that what being a playmaker does to him? Because if it is, I'm switching everyone back to their normal roles, and we'll just... Oh, what a save from Zakwani. I tell you what, I take it all back. Not only have I just seen that save... I've just noticed Stoke have had 4 clear-cut chances today. I think we're getting our money's worth out of Zakwani. Even if we end up losing this, the rest of the team have been rubbish today, and Zakwani has kept us in it. And that's not too... He's only on a 6.6, according to... For goodness sake. 1 penalty wasn't enough, apparently. So we have to give away a second one. Is there a stat somewhere that's trackable to see how many penalties we've given away? I mean, how many games have we played? 26 games, is it now? I wouldn't be surprised if we've given away 25 penalties this season. I need to be able to track that stat. It's just hideous. Del Gaudio, that's rubbish. We have got 6 minutes of added time, so it's not necessarily all over yet. Although... Now they've got a broken player and we just decided to let him keep the ball. I mean, why didn't they do that with Robertson? That feels like that would have been the polite thing to do. And Zakwani with a world-class double save. I tell you what, he's good, isn't he? We are being absolutely... Zakwani is playing well. The big issue is, though, this is Stoke. We were just talking about how we were 10 points clear of them. These are the team that are chasing us and trying to drag us into a relegation battle. So, yay for Zakwani that he's had a good game. We have got to worry looking at those stats. 6-1 on clear-cut chances. They've had 20 shots, 12 of them on target. 5 half chances as well. That is a seriously worrying sign. Now watch me just get double confused when we go and beat Chelsea. A few changes for the Chelsea game then, including one that I'd like to think has sent the crowd wild. Ali Afsharian comes in up front for Graziani. He can't do any worse than those jokers who were playing up there in the last game. Graziani drops down to the bench. I've also had to make some changes at the back. Robertson's going to be out for a couple of months now, so Betan's going to get his chance in at the back there. Galliano comes in at right back. Trezeguet was terrible. I know he played a lot of that game at left back, but he was rubbish in it. Other than that, the team is unchanged. Tommy Taggart is now closing back in on match fitness, so this might be the last in the little run of opening games that Holmqvist gets. But he's already moved up to a 3-star player, by the way. Already officially better than Sawyer. But I think once Taggart's fit, we go back to Taggart and King as our centre-back partnership. And, we could do with getting Earl fit again, really. Because Earl, when he was fit, I know he's only played like 3 Premier League games for us, just looked so good. He looks like a different level to what we get with Del Gaudio. And kind of want that level to help us, football matches winning and stuff. The positive, and it is sometimes a bit hard to reach for positives when games go the way they have been recently, we are still ahead of the Kev ratio. The Kev ratio, all important. We're on 28 points from 26 games before this game started. And obviously if we can pick up any kind of result here against Chelsea, that's going to be a massive, massive bonus. Because we never for a million years would consider even conceding less than sort of 4 or 5 goals against Chelsea. So anything better than that, and that's a good performance. Werner plays it through to Afsharian. You lot really should. Someone should have told me to start that man. I can't believe you've just let me go. What has he been at the club? 5 seasons? Just never playing him? Why did you let me get away with it? You should be telling me down in the I know people have been telling me to do this. That's why I've been reluctant to do it. I don't like it when you lot are right and I'm wrong. But needs must. And if Afsharian is going to be the man who keeps us in the Premier League, then I don't mind calling it a team effort getting us there. Barron just scratches the paint on the top of the crossbar. I can't believe Afsharian scored. He's scored in both games against Chelsea this season now. Go and grab a hat-trick, lad, because we're obviously not going to keep a clean sheet. 1 goal isn't going to be enough. As much fun as it is seeing Afsharian consistently score in these games we go on to lose, what we actually need from him is a match-winning performance. And I don't think we've had that yet. I mean, that's not his fault. Obviously, I don't expect him to single-handedly go out there and beat Chelsea, although if he scores another 4 goals today, that's exactly what he's going to do. Werner, that is just terrible football from Werner, and it's going to give away a goal. Luckily, Chelsea didn't have their shooting boots on at that moment. Fia with the free kick back to Del Gaudio, who's trying to be clever. Look at him being a playmaker, and actually causes Chelsea some real problems there. Del Gaudio, he seems to be a little bit of an enigma playing as a playmaker. I was definitely keeping him in a box before and making him I was basically trying to make him play like a Premier League standard James Ball. Just get forward, score goals. That's all Ball ever really did. He wasn't much of a creative force. But Del Gaudio as a playmaker plays very, very differently. You can actually see the difference in how he's playing. That's the joy of having a ball-winning midfielder. Just crunch him. But he does seem to try a few things, and sometimes they come off and sometimes they don't. It's not a disaster trying stuff there. It's when he's trying stuff in our centre circle and giving the ball away that I have to worry. Galliano forward to Barron, and it's Moulan to Del Gaudio again. That is a pass of just beautiful wonderfulness, but Werner still adjusting to life in the Premier League. Screws it wide. I mean, it was a poor effort from Werner, especially with Afsharian in the middle for the sweaty FIFA goal. It would have been nice to see him square it. Holmqvist forward to Del Gaudio has come very deep. That's the position we don't want to see him messing around. Fia to Del Gaudio again. There he is. He's in the centre circle, messing around. That's what we need to cut out of his game. I never do individual player instructions, but if someone can give me a tip for how to keep him trying the fancy stuff further forward, but stop faffing about there, because indirectly led to the goal being given away there. It's Del Gaudio who gives the ball away in the middle of the pitch, just faffing about. He needs to be told, you're only allowed to try something fancy if you're in the final third of the pitch. If you're anywhere else, just keep it simple, look for an outlet, get it forward to the strikers or play it back to one of the 3 men behind you. In theory, it should be the easiest position on the pitch to play. He's got options in front of him and loads of support behind him. At times he has 5 men just behind him when the fullbacks are pushed on and the 3 midfielders are all there, and he still finds a way to give the ball away. What a numpty. Goodness me, you didn't get this with James Ball. He just kept things simple. If only he was a Premier League quality player. Afsharian has picked up an injury, which I have noticed, and I'm trying to pretend hasn't happened. He's got a twisted knee. This is going to be typical Football Manager now. I'm finally decided I'm going to give him a run of games, and he'll have done his cruciate ligaments or something, and that'll be him out for the rest of the season now. That is exactly how Football Manager works. And by the time he's fit again, he either won't be the same player, a la Peter Anderson, who was just never the same player after he did. Was it a broken leg or cruciate ligaments with him? I don't even remember. But he was never the same player again. And so either it'll be that, or I'll just have forgotten that I decided to give him a chance, or we'll have signed replacements. Chelsea have got Donnarumma on the bench, I've just noticed. And we're not millions of years in the future. It's not like it's a 40-year-old Donnarumma. Right, we are going to have to take off Afsharian and bring on Graziani just to try and protect him. Our defenders have had bad games. Let's bring Etchebay. In fact, let's do a Kev triple. Bring Tommy Taggart on as well. And just try and shore up that defence a little bit where we're not playing very well. We're putting a lot of pressure on Graziani to come on and grab us a winner. But remember, we don't actually need a winner. It would be lovely to draw this game. A draw in this game would be an exceptional result. Chelsea are second in the league. Yes, they're a gazillion miles away from Man City, but this is a team who would normally and should thump us. And the fact that doesn't seem to be happening. Del Gaudio! It's an own goal it's gone down as, but that's what I'm talking about with Del Gaudio. That's where you try something clever, like he has there. He's trying to be fancy. And it's a total fluke, but has got us a goal. He can do that there. But how do we stop him doing that somewhere else? Because remember, it was very similar to what he did in the centre circle, because he has just kicked it at a Chelsea player. Luckily, this time it turned into a goal for us rather than a goal for them. Del Gaudio again, this time playing some good football. Graziani plays Del Gaudio through. He's got space and players in the middle, crosses towards Venner, but it can't beat the goalkeeper. He's suddenly turned into a decent player. Look at the state of those clear-cut chances, by the way. This is the mugging of all muggings. And, it didn't go in. If we can hold on for another 2 minutes, this is ridiculous. Venner to Del Gaudio. This is exactly what we should be doing, just keeping hold of the ball. It's Barron, probably not the man who can keep hold of the ball. Betan, maybe better at it. Moulan to Del Gaudio. Fear. Venner. That was poor, but Graziani's chasing it, and we've just beaten Chelsea. I do not understand how to play Football Manager anymore. I just don't get it. Some would argue I never did get it. The important thing is we now find ourselves 14th in the Premier League. Another, 11 games still to go? We're already on 31 points. If we win 3 more games, we're safe. So 3 out of 11. And that is the kind of ratio we've been hitting since the little purple patch at the start of the year, which is absolutely, if we stay up, it's saved us. But looking at that straight away, let's go beat Brentford. Let's go beat Crystal Palace. Let's beat West Ham. There you go. They can be our 3. And let's have a cup run as well. What a weird episode. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.